Hi everyone. So the topic for today is pituitary glands. Okay. So before I start, let me introduce myself. I am Vani Kari, biology educator at Unacademy. I am an engineer with bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology and a B.Ed degree. Also a founder of a startup where I grow microgreens by vertical farming technology. So let me just check. Okay. Okay. Okay, so join with us in Telegram. So for homework and class notes, you can join the channel Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 and Telegram channel Unacademy ICSE and ISC boards. So you can click on this link. Okay. So this link you will find in the description box. Okay. So you can click on the link and join the Telegram channel. Of Unacademy ICSE and ISC boards, and also Unacademy free classes that we take. So these are the special classes. Okay, so there also you have an option of live chat, and the emojis also are there, so you can discuss with the learners, you can discuss with the educator if a discussion session is going on. Okay, and other than that, so since lot of questions keep on coming, so your question might get lost, so separately we have the question tab where you can type in your question, attach an image and send it to the educator during a live class, and the educator will be getting a notification that the learner has asked the doubt, so they'll be clearing your doubts. Okay, so also there is a poll option which is available, so we will be conducting quizzes, that is a poll watch, so where you will be getting the options and you can choose the correct answer there. So after the quiz is done, so we are sharing the leaderboard to know your rank, so you will be getting the rank 1 2 and up to 10 you will be getting, so that you can compete with your friends as well. So now Unacademy subscription feature, so now till now what I explained, so that was for a free classes, and this one is with respect to subscription. So if you are taking a subscription, so you will have access to all of this, that is you can learn live from the comfort of your home, so this is there. So unlimited access to all the courses, different educators are coming up with different courses, so you will have access to all of these courses, and top educators of India are going to take the classes in one platform, so that is Unacademy platform. Then there is regular doubt clearing session, so after about every 3 session, so we are conducting one session, that is the fourth session, which will be completely dedicated for learners itself for their doubts. Okay, so whatever doubts you have related to the topics that are previously covered, so you can clear your doubts in this session. So let's say you do not have any doubts, so we can conduct a revision, or the poll also we can conduct. All right, so complete coverage of a syllabus is done, mentorship and guidance is given, study material is given, then practice tests are given, live test series, batch courses, so you will have access to all of this. So now here the batch courses when we mention, so if you prefer to learn in Hindi, you can go for Hindi batches, and if you prefer to learn in English, so you can go for the English batches as well. So this is completely your choice again, so depending on your convenience you can go for any of these batches. And then there is daily practice session, then weekly mock test series, live quizzes, daily MCQ and subjective test series, so you can go for, you will have access to all of these and you can take up these tests. So let's say you want to try like how exactly this works, so you can go for 3 months for trying, and if you are planning to go for class 11 and 12 also with this. Hi Anima, good evening. Okay, so if you are planning to go for higher study, so maybe you can go for more months of subscription, again depending on your convenience. where you will be getting 10% discount. Okay, so 10% discount you are getting with the referral code Vani YT. Okay, so you can use this referral code, you will be getting 10% discount on the subscription. And also there is a offer. So let's say you are going for 12 months of subscription, so basically you are getting 2 months free. That means you are getting 14 months of subscription for 12 months, and on top you will be getting flat 10% discount ongoing for purchase of the subscription, that is plus subscription. So there you will, this is the referral code that you need to use. So when you use the Vani YT referral code, so you will be getting flat 10% off. Okay, so let's get started. So introduction related to the pituitary gland, or the different glands what are there, so which are mainly responsible for the hormone production in our body. So what exactly do these hormones do? Okay, so I'll just give you one example where, like, hormone, how exactly this is going to play a role. So now let's say a food is there. Okay, so food is there, all right. So this is with respect to any gland, so it can be exocrine gland or endocrine gland. So now if we are saying about the hormone itself, that is insulin, we will take an example. Okay, so now when you consume a food, okay, so there is glucose level will be high because you are consuming a carbohydrate. That means let's say you are consuming a rice which is rich in carbohydrate, so there is glucose, a lot of glucose is there. So now the glucose will be detected, the pancreas is going to receive the signal. So now this glucose is detected by whom? The glucose is detected by the neuron. These are the sensory cell, so specialized epithelial cells, so they will detect this one. The neuron is going to send a message to the pancreas, that means it will send an impulse to the pancreas through which the insulin production will occur. Okay, so pancreas is getting a signal from the brain. Okay, so that is basically to produce the insulin. Now insulin will be produced, and insulin will make sure that all the excess amount of glucose which is there in your blood, okay, so this has to be converted into glycogen. Okay, and this has to be stored in the liver or the muscle. So this is done by the insulin. So how exactly this is happening? So this is happening mainly because of hi Parvez, good evening. Okay, so how exactly this is happening? So this is happening because glucose is detected by the sensory cells. So sensory cell is going to send the signal to the brain. Brain will send a signal to the pancreas hormone to produce, and your pancreas gland to produce a hormone insulin, and then insulin will act on this glucose, which will facilitate the conversion of glucose into glycogen, so that excess amount of glucose whatever is it, so that will be stored in the form of glycogen in the liver or the muscle. So this is the function of a hormone. So we will see what exactly pituitary hormone is going to do now. Okay, so endocrine glands, so these are ductless glands. So there is a gland. Okay, so gland will be there. So below you can find a blood vessel. Okay, so now this gland is going to secrete a hormone. So the hormones one which is secreted here, so these hormones are going to diffuse into the blood vessel. Okay, so there is no duct like you can find in case of lacrimal gland, that is tear gland. So lacrimal gland is having about 6 to 12 pairs of ducts will be there. Okay, so through this duct only the secretion of tear will occur into the eye. So this is actually exocrine gland, the tube like structures are there. Okay, so that we call as exocrine gland. Endocrine gland, when we mention, there are no ducts, so there is no tube, so directly diffusion is done, and through the diffusion itself the hormone is reaching the blood vessel. Is this clear? So after that, the substance secreted directly into the bloodstream. Okay, so they are producing a hormone, regulate the body function. So many of the functions which are associated with the body, so those are done by the endocrine glands itself. So these are sometimes, so these are specific to male also, and these are specific to female also. So now if I have to take an example of this one now, so let me just explain it here. Okay, so in that case, so let's say I need to take an example with respect to male hormone and a female hormone. So in case of male, the hormone is testosterone. Okay, so testosterone male hormone is different, all right. And in case of female, the hormone is which one? So there is a progesterone and then there is a estrogen. So there is a progesterone hormone is present, and also there is a estrogen. Okay, so one second, so there is a estrogen hormone also which is present. So these are the hormones which we can find in case of female. So these are responsible for egg production or ovum production. Okay, and this hormone is responsible for testosterone hormone. Okay, so this is responsible for sperm production. Okay, which is a male gamete. Okay, so now here, so different hormones can be found with respect to different categories that they have. So specific to male and a female hormones, so we can find different hormones. So in today's class we will discuss about the pituitary gland. Okay, so what exactly is pituitary gland now? So this is located in the bony cavity called as sella turcica. Okay, so there is a bony cavity where we can see, in the cerebrum part, all right. So just below you can find this particular gland. Okay, so located in the bony cavity. Okay, so that bony cavity itself is called as a sella turcica. So attached to the hypothalamus, so there is a hypothalamus attached with the hypothalamus. So you can find this p-shaped gland. Okay, so there is this p-shaped gland that you can find. Okay, so this is p-sized, all right. So this is shape and size is gonna be p itself, and it is a master gland. Why do we call it as a master gland? Yes, any idea why do we call it as a master gland? So as it controls the hormone secretion, the male sex hormone, the female sex hormone. If a woman is delivering her baby, so for that again, for delivery, the labor has to occur. So in that a hormonal role plays them. So if a growth is occurring, so there is a hormone that is required. So pituitary gland, when we mention, so it is going to perform lot of function, where it is a master gland which will control the function of many other glands. Okay, so that is why it is called as a master gland. So now they'll ask you in your finals, so they'll ask you the location of pituitary gland. So you need to write the exact location. So this I keep repeating in my class, every class, right? So why do I say this one? Because your ICSE, I have undergone a training of your ICSE evaluation. So what they expect is whenever you are writing a location, okay, so your question papers also mention, so write the exact location of so and so part. Okay, so now if they are asking a pituitary, so exact location is this one. So pituitary gland is the small projection. Okay, so you can write this, or this is the one, so you can skip this also, better if you write. Okay, so gland is a small projection which hangs from the base of the midbrain below hypothalamus. So they expect you to write this one. So exact meaning of what they give in your exam, so they expect you to write the exact same sentence. So let's say you have understood, okay, so you have understood what exactly is the location, but you are writing it in your own terms, so this usually is not accepted. So that is how lot of ICSE students which whom I have seen, so they lose their marks only because of these kind of mistakes. So they expect you to write mainly with respect to location. When they are mentioning exact, go for the exact. So make sure that you make a list of locations of all the organs which are there in your textbook. Okay, so make a list of all the location and write the exact location, one which is given in your textbook, and that is going to help you prepare in your exam. So make a list of location, write down the exact location. So now this pituitary gland is called as a master gland. Okay, so this is a master gland because it controls practically all the other endocrine glands. So different endocrine glands, what are there? So they are all under the control of this pituitary gland itself. Yes, Parvez, yes. So most of the gland and hormones are controlled. Okay, so many of the hormones are under control of this hormone itself. All right. Okay, so let's get started with this. Yes, so location we saw. Okay, and other than that, hormones from the anterior pituitary. So you know the pituitary, when we mention, so this is having lobes in that. Okay, so there will be lobes, so we need to look at the lobes which you can see here. So there are intermediate lobes, so there is a left lobe, the anterior lobe, or the posterior lobe. So let's have a look at this one now. So the hormones from the anterior pituitary, so this is the structure which is given in your textbook. You can see here the hypothalamus is present, all right, and you can see that the posterior pituitary is mentioned and anterior pituitary is mentioned. Okay, so make sure that you are writing. So they'll ask you like how many lobes are there in your pituitary gland. So write 2 lobes only, because this intermediate lobe is almost absent in case of humans, but in other animals the intermediate lobe is present. So now they are talking with respect to humans because we are studying about the humans here. So say that it is having 2 lobes. So the one is, so this is absent in case of human, that is intermediate lobe. Okay, so posterior pituitary and anterior pituitary are the lobes which we find. All right, so now the hormones from the anterior pituitary. Yes, are you all understanding? Any doubt here? All right. Okay, so anterior pituitary. Okay, so now when we mention about the anterior pituitary, so it will produce, that is the front lobe. So some important hormones are being produced by the anterior lobe. So one is growth hormone. Okay, so growth hormone is essential for normal growth. Okay, so the individual who grows normally, you know, according to his size, according to his height, so basically proper width and height has to be maintained. Okay, so that will be done because of the growth hormone. So growth hormone is essential for normal growth. So this can, you need to know every alternate name which is mentioned. So for growth hormone the alternate name is somatotropin. Make sure that you know the name, alternate name. So instead of growth hormone, so they'll ask what exactly somatotropin does. Okay, what exactly is the effect of hypersecretion and hyposecretion with respect to somatotropin. So when they are asking that, so you should not keep on thinking that what exactly somatotropin. So you need to be aware of every alternate names that are mentioned here. Okay, so deficiency of growth hormone in childhood. Okay, so this is with respect to childhood now. Okay, so if in the childhood, if the growth hormone is not sufficient, it will lead to dwarfism. So dwarfism is this one. So you can see this dwarf child. Okay, so short child is there. So dwarf, only 23 inches tall. Okay, so and under secretion of a growth hormone has occurred. So this has happened during a childhood. Okay, so childhood results in a dwarfism because the growth hormone is not produced sufficiently. As you know, the growth hormone is responsible for growth of an individual. Okay, so now you know, you can see this also, there is an giant individual. Okay, so giant one, so that is about 2.7 meters tall. So over secretion of growth hormone has occurred in him. Okay, so if over secretion is there, so in that case it will lead to giantness, and if under secretion is there, so it will lead to dwarfness. So let's have a look at this now. So over secretion in childhood result in the gigantism. Okay, so long bones can be found. So you know the bones which are supposed to be this size, so they'll grow the double their size. Okay, so longer bone can be there beyond the normal one, so they can grow up to 2.7 meter in height. All right, so I have seen some of them. Okay, so some of them who will grow a lot. Okay, so if over secretion of the growth hormone suddenly occurs in an adult. Okay, so over secretion, so let's have a look at this one now. So in case of childhood, okay, so in case of childhood, this is if hyposecretion. Okay, so this is with respect to hyposecretion of a growth hormone is occurring. So in that case, what will happen? It will lead to dwarfism. Okay, so this will lead to dwarfism. So same way, if so this is dwarfism. Okay, so same way hypersecretion is occurring. Okay, so hypersecretion of growth hormone is occurring in the childhood, then it will lead to gigantism. Okay, so gigantic body is being formed there. All right, so now if over secretion is happening during, that is he is already grown up. Okay, so he is an adult now. So in that case, what is going to happen? There is an extra growth of bone in the face. So the bones which are there, so they are going to grow extra. So mainly in the jaw region, as well as in case of hands, as well as the feet. Okay, so now this person is going to develop a large nose, a thicker lip we can find. Okay, and the condition is called as a acromegaly. Acro is height. Okay, and extremity also. Megaly is large. So larger height we can find with respect to the facial expression, the hand or the legs. So now this is in case of a adult. Okay, so in case of a adult, if hyper, okay, so this is for hyper now. So if a hyper secretion is occurring, so in that case what it will lead to? It will lead to acromegaly. Acromegaly is basically height is gonna be extremely heighter, like larger height we can find. So now here in this case, so this is again with respect to growth hormone itself. So let's have a look at this now. So thyroid stimulating hormone. So what exactly happens with the anterior pituitary? So anterior pituitary produced by the the hormones which are produced by the anterior lobe. One is growth hormone that you studied. Okay, so the next one is the thyroid stimulating hormone. So what you can just have a look at this one now. So it is not just one hormone that is being produced. So many of the hormones are being produced by the anterior pituitary itself, that is to bring about changes in an individual. So thyroid stimulating hormone, this will activate the thyroid gland, that is to secrete a thyroxine. So now what is happening? From anterior pituitary, this is making sure that the thyroxine is produced from the thyroid gland. So that is why by the name itself we can see thyroid stimulating hormone it is. So thyroid gland is being stimulated for the formation of a thyroxine hormone. Okay, so same way gonad stimulating hormone or a gonadotropic hormone regulate the activities of the testis and the ovaries. So now here in case of gonadotropic hormone, so let's say gonad stimulating hormones which are there. So these gonad stimulating hormone will be released by the anterior pituitary. Now the anterior pituitary is gonna secrete this hormone. Okay, so now what will happen? Once the secretion of this gonad stimulating hormone is done, so this will be reaching the testis. Okay, in case of a male. All right, so this will be reaching the ovary in case of a female. All right, so that is when there are actually a lot of changes that are going to occur. So there is FSH, then follicle stimulating hormone is being released, then a luteinizing hormone is being released in turn because of these two hormones which are going to act on the ovary and the testis. So now this testis will help in the production of sperm. Okay, and the ovary, so in that case ovum production will occur. So this is with respect to gonadotropin releasing hormone. Okay, so adrenocorticotropic hormone is also there. So what exactly does it do? So regulates the activities of adrenal cortex. So what is adrenal cortex does? So you know, adrenal cortex produces two hormones. One is glucocorticoid, okay, and mineralocorticoids. Okay, so glucocorticoid hormones are produced. One second, I'll write this. Okay, and mineralocorticoids. So these are the two hormones which are produced by the adrenal cortex. Okay, so now when the adrenal cortex is being stimulated, you can see here adrenocorticotropic hormone is going to regulate the activity of adrenal cortex. That means adrenal cortex will be acted. So basically this hormone, ACTH hormone, will act on the adrenal cortex, that is to release a glucocorticoid and a mineralocorticoid. So this is there for the metabolism process. Okay, so metabolism of minerals, then metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, then lipids. So all that can occur because of this. So now in metabolism, when we mention, so there is an anabolism process, okay, and then there is catabolism process. So these are gonna occur with respect to the hormones that are released. So anabolism is constructive reaction. Okay, so this one is a constructive reaction. When we mention a catabolism, so this is a destructive reaction. Okay, so this is a destructive reaction. So there is a construction and destruction keeps on happening with respect to your carbohydrates, proteins, and the fats and other things. Okay, so now the tropic hormone, when we mention, so hormones which stimulate other endocrine glands. So other endocrine glands are being stimulated, that is to produce their specific hormones. So such as gonadotropic hormone is being released. Okay, then other than that, anterior pituitary and also stimulate the gonad to produce certain hormones. So certain other hormones are also being produced. So tropic meaning here is influencing the activity of the named organs, such as thyrotropic, like for thyroid, adrenocortic hormones. So they are, so once the anterior pituitary releases these kind of hormones, so they are going to act on specific organs. Okay, so now this will act on testis and ovary. Okay, so this is going to act on testis and ovary. So this is going to act on the thyroid gland. All right, and this is going to act on the adrenal cortex. So these, when they release other endocrine glands, so these are other endocrine glands now. So these other endocrine glands are going to get activated, and because of that the functioning will be done. Yes, any doubt in this? So let me just check. All right, so no doubt. Okay, so hormones from the posterior pituitary. So now this is a posterior lobe which we can find. So posterior lobe produces two hormones. So one is vasopressin hormone is being produced, and oxytocin hormone is being produced. So these are the two hormones that we find in case of the posterior pituitary with respect to humans. So there is antidiuretic hormone, the ADH hormone. Okay, so antidiuretic hormone or ADH hormone, so this can also be called as a vasopressin. Okay, so this is a vasopressin hormone. So what does it do? So this is going to constrict the blood vessel. So constriction of a blood vessel, that is basically it will get narrower. The blood vessel is going to get narrower. So this will constrict the blood vessel with raise in blood pressure. Okay, so whenever there is a raise in blood pressure, the constriction in the blood vessel we can find. So this also acts on kidney. Okay, so this will act on the kidneys also. increasing the reabsorption of water. So reabsorption process is gonna increase in that, all right. So when that happens from the kidney tubule, so now I'll just explain you this. So a proper amount of this hormone, that is ADH or a vasopressin. So let me just write it here. Just a second. Okay. So there is a ADH hormone, okay, or we can also call it as a vasopressin. So when this hormone is released in a normal concentration, okay, so normal concentration, this is released. So in that case, what is going to happen? So this is the normal concentration, okay. So what will happen? Reabsorption of water, okay. So reabsorption of water we can see, okay. So that is in the kidneys, okay, and this is gonna happen in the kidneys, mainly the nephron, okay. So that urine concentration, urine production will be normal. So normal urine production is normal here. But when hyposecretion is occurring, so let's say there is a hyposecretion, okay, so very less secretion of this is happening, that is vasopressin. So hyposecretion of ADH is happening. So in that case, reabsorption rate is reduced, okay. So reabsorption of water, okay, so this is reduced, reabsorption of water is reduced. And that, so since water is not being absorbed, so there is more urine formation which we can see, okay. So urine production will be more over here. So as the water absorption is very less, urine production is less, urine production will be more in this case. So that is with respect to hyposecretion. So if hypersecretion, more urine instead of a more urine, so it will be a less urine. Yeah. So now deficiency of ADH, that is hyposecretion, so that will lead to diabetes insipidus. So that is water diabetes also we can mention, which will basically urination is frequent. So those who are having a diabetes, so in them the urination is gonna be frequent. So that means on a regular basis, frequently they go for urination, and resulting in loss of water from the body, and the person can become thirsty. So if more urine is going, what is going to happen? The person is going to get thirstier. So diabetes meaning over here is passing out excess amount of urine. So if excess amount of urine is there, so this can be passed out. So there are two types of diabetes, okay. So one is diabetes mellitus, okay. So diabetes mellitus is there. So in that case, the urine contains sugar which is caused due to insufficient insulin. So that is when insulin is not produced in a proper amount. So there is too much of a glucose. So here we will see this. One second. So I'll just draw it here and explain, all right. So now here in this case, so let's say insulin production which occurs, okay. So insulin production will make sure that excess amount of glucose which is there in your body, so this excess amount of glucose will be converted into glycogen, okay, and then it will be stored in the liver. So this is the function of an insulin. But if less secretion of an insulin is there, so increased amount of glucose which is there, so it is not converted into glycogen, or nor it is neither stored in the liver also. So this excess amount of glucose will stay in the blood itself. So from blood it is not going anywhere. So now when through the blood itself, the excretion process, that is urinary system, which is forming the urine, so that is basically a filtration of a blood itself. So urine which is there, so that will have more amount of glucose. The blood which is there, so that will also have more amount of glucose. So this itself we call as a diabetes mellitus, okay. So this is called as a diabetes mellitus, all right. So other than that, yeah, so this is with respect to deficiency of ADH, okay. So when ADH is very less, all right, so this is what happens. So other than that, this is with respect to more urination. The other one, insulin, what I discussed, so that is for a diabetes mellitus, and the other one for ADH, it is diabetes insipidus. So now in case of diabetes insipidus, there is no sugar in the water. So insipid is basically a tasteless one, that is a blank referring to absence of sugar in the urine, and melly means is honey or a sweet. Okay, so is this clear now? Any doubts in this? Okay, 1 second. All right. Okay, so next hormone is oxytocin. So we will discuss about this one also. So I'll just say what exactly is the function of oxytocin. Just a second. Okay, so now in case of oxytocin, so oxy is meaning is sharp, all right, or a quick. Tocos is childbirth. So oxytocin hormone release will occur mainly for the childbirth. So I'll just erase this part. Okay, here I'll erase. Okay, so just a second. Okay, so now here, when the oxytocin is released, so oxytocin is having two functions. So what are the two functions there? So you can see that it stimulates the vigorous contraction of the uterus. Okay, so uterus contraction is one function of this one. Okay, so uterus is gonna contract with the help of the oxytocin. So uterus contraction, so that is for the delivery. Okay, so or the parturition process, so delivery of the fetus, so that can occur only because of the oxytocin being produced or given in there. Okay, and other than that, so that is in case of a pregnant mother, and other than that, leading to the birth of the baby, so also stimulates the milk ejection. So another function with respect to oxytocin is the milk which is produced in the breast, okay, that is in the mammary gland. So this milk has to be ejected. Okay, so this has to be given out so that the baby is going to get a nourishment. So ejection of a milk, okay, so that is done by the oxytocin, and oxytocin is also there for the uterus contraction. So let's have a look at this one now. So how exactly it is going to perform the activity. So let's have a look at the first function. Okay, so here let's say oxytocin, uterus contraction. So you know that this is a uterus. Okay, so here is the uterus of a mother is there. Okay, and inside a mother's womb, so there is a fetus. Okay, so the fetus which is growing. Okay, and now this fetus is actually ready for the delivery. So this is the cervix part. Okay, so this one is the cervix and the vagina is there. Okay, so now this one is a uterus. All right, so I'll just label this one. So now when we mention that, so there is actually a myometrium is there, that is muscular, so smooth muscular tissue. So let me just label it. So there is a perimetrium, and then there is a myometrium. So this layer what you find, so this is gonna be a myometrium. Okay, and then one more layer we can find, so there will be another layer. So another layer will be endometrium, where basically the growth of this fetus will occur. Okay, so oxytocin which is released, the signal for the release is sent by the child itself. So adrenal gland, so that will start releasing the androgens, and after that it will be reaching the placenta. So placenta is going to conduct it. So now the maternal pituitary. Okay, so mother's pituitary, maternal is basically mother's pituitary, so that is going to release the oxytocin hormone. Okay, so now this mother's hormone, so this is a brain is there. Okay, so there is a posterior pituitary gland is there, so that is the one which is going to release this pituitary, mother's pituitary is the one which is going to release a hormone oxytocin. Once the oxytocin is released, so there are receptors over here. Okay, so receptors for this Oxytocin we can find in the myometrium, that is in the uterus. Okay, so in the uterus, so smooth muscle. Okay, so smooth muscles, what are they? So they are going to receive this oxygen because there are receptors. Okay, so oxytocin will be released by the maternal brain, that is posterior pituitary, and here this is the receptor. So now let's say, now this is the oxytocin which is released. So oxytocin is gonna bind with the receptor which is here. Okay, so once the oxytocin binds at the receptors in the uterus, okay, in the uterus, so they will start vigorous contraction. So now these muscles will start contracting, and because of that there is a pressure which is generated, so they'll start moving towards, and this fetus which will there, so this will be pushed out. Okay, so the fetus which is growing, so that will be pushed out, and that is how it will lead to delivery of the baby, because continuous contraction in the smooth muscles, so smooth muscles will go on contracting, and because of that itself the fetus which is growing inside, so that will be pushed out. So that is with respect to the uterus contraction. So one more function of this oxytocin is milk ejection. So what exactly is the meaning of milk ejection here? So let me just explain it over here. Okay, so in case of milk ejection, okay, so second function of oxytocin hormone. Okay, so this is a oxytocin hormone now. Okay, so oxytocin hormone will also help in the milk ejection. All right, so what exactly does it do? So now when the fetus, that is when the baby is born after the delivery, because here you could see that the delivery happened because of the contraction of the the muscles in the uterus. Okay, so second function is milk ejection there. So in that case, so let's just draw this one. So let's say the mammary gland is there. Okay, so in the mammary gland, all right, so lobes will be there. So mammary lobes are there. Okay, so these mammary lobes is where the milk production will occur. Okay, so now these are the mammary lobes, and in this particular part itself, so there is a formation of milk we can see. So milk synthesis. Okay, so synthesis of milk, I'll just write this. Okay, so synthesis of milk which is there, so synthesis of milk will occur with respect to the hormone prolactin. All right, and the release of this, now here let's say this blue color is a milk which is produced here at the alveoli. So all this milk which is stored in the alveoli, so this is the alveoli with respect to mammary gland, not the one which is present in the respiratory system. Okay, so there are also alveoli which are there. So through the duct, okay, when the baby sucks on to this mammary gland, that is onto the nipple, so here let's say a baby is sucking. Okay, so baby sucks on to the mammary gland. Okay, so these mammary ducts are all connected, so they are going to release. So from here, that is from the alveoli, the milk has to be released, and release of the milk will be done by the oxytocin. Okay, so when the baby sucks on to the mammary gland, that is nipple, so that is when the oxytocin hormone is released, and as the oxytocin hormone is released, so it will make sure that the milk which is there in the alveoli, so this will be reaching through the duct, so that is the lactiferous duct from each one of these. So they are going to release their milk content from these mammary labs, mammary lobes, and these lactiferous ducts which are there, so that will be joining here, and when the sucking action is done, so because of oxytocin release itself, the milk is going to flow through the duct, and the baby is going to get a milk. Okay, so that is the function with respect to oxytocin. So let's have a look at this one. Any doubts you have here? All right. So endocrine glands are duct glands. So are they duct glands or ductless glands? So whether this one is true or false. So this is false because endocrine glands are ductless glands, okay, because they do not have a duct. So this is a ductless gland. So dash hormone stimulates contraction of smooth muscle. You know, the contraction of smooth muscles can occur. So now here in this case, so smooth muscle contraction you saw in the uterus itself, which I gave an example. So smooth muscle contraction will occur because of the oxytocin. Okay, so oxytocin hormone, when it is released, so that is when the contraction will occur, and that is how the delivery of the fetus will occur. So another name for vasopressin, okay, so it is the ADH. Okay, so antidiuretic hormone. So tropic hormones stimulate certain other endocrine glands. So whether this is true or false, so this is true. Okay, so moving on to, so this is another, you know, tropic hormones always stimulate the other endocrine glands, so it is true. So somatotropin can also be, okay, so it is ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, growth hormone, then gonadotropin releasing hormone, and you know, antidiuretic hormone. So somatotropic alternate name is growth hormone. So this is the right answer. Okay, so any doubts in this? Okay, so Parvez has answered this one. Okay, so this is the previous one. All right. So this summary I'll go with. Okay, so you can see a summary over here. Anterior pituitary. Okay, so anterior pituitary produces a growth hormone. Okay, so growth hormone deficiency is there, so it will lead to dwarfism. If excess is there, it will lead to gigantism. In case of adults, so if there is hypersecretion, okay, so over secretion is done, so it will lead to acromegaly. Okay, so tropic hormones are basically stimulate certain other endocrine glands. So in that case, hi Rohan, good evening. So any doubts you have with respect to this topic, the pituitary gland? Okay, so here in this case, the tropic hormone, when we mention, so these stimulate the certain other endocrine glands. So we are just now looking at the summary. Okay, so summarize or summary of this particular anterior pituitary. So now here, you know, these are the hormones that are released from the pituitary, that is anterior pituitary. So basically, you know, when these hormones are released, okay, that is when the hormones like thyroid stimulating hormone is released or adrenocorticotropic hormone is released, so they are going to stimulate other endocrine glands. So now this is stimulating a thyroid gland. Okay, so thyroid gland is being stimulated to produce a thyroxine hormone. Here in this case, adrenocorticotropic hormone. So that means adrenal cortex, the adrenal gland, what is there? So there is a cortex region. So adrenal cortex hormone is being released there. So that is basically, you know, glucocorticoid, mineralocorticoid release will occur. So that is mainly because of this anterior pituitary, which is releasing ACTH hormone. So same way gonadotropic hormone also. So follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, the prolactin hormone, which is there for the milk secretion. So all these three hormones, what are there? So these are performing their function because anterior pituitary has acted on them. So now this will help. So you know, this will help in the formation of sperm and the ovum. Okay, so sperm and egg production. So this is in case of male and this is in case of female. So these are occurring because the hormone FSH and LH are being released from the anterior pituitary. Okay, so from posterior pituitary, if we are checking, so antidiuretic hormone is there and then there is oxytocin. So antidiuretic hormone increases reabsorption of water from the kidney tubule. Okay, so if there is a deficiency, it will lead to diabetes insipidus. So if the deficiency is there, so very less secretion of ADH or a vasopressin, antidiuretic hormone. So it will lead to more water. Let it, more water is not absorbed. So because of that, more urination is occurring. So frequent urination we can find. So that is a water diabetes. All right. So oxytocin when we mention. So here the uterus contraction will occur. That will occur during the childbirth. So uterus is going to contract, and which stimulates the milk ejection. So milk ejection is occurring. So in case after the delivery is done, so once the infant starts sucking onto the breast milk, that is on the mammary gland, so oxytocin will be released. Because of the prolactin, the milk synthesis is already done in the mammary gland, but the release has to be done. So once the stimulus, so stimulus is who here? So stimulus is actually the baby who is sucking onto this breast milk. So that is the stimulus where the oxytocin will be released. Once the oxytocin is released, so it will make sure that from all the mammary lobes the milk is released and the baby is getting a sufficient amount of a milk. So stimulates the milk ejection. So that is also done by the oxytocin itself. So we saw all of this. Alright. So before I end this session, so let me just say about this. So there is an ongoing batch. Okay. So these are ongoing batch. So Udan batch, the mode of delivery is Hindi here. The champions batch, the mode of delivery is English here. So in both of these batches, you can have access to these batches only if you have taken a subscription. And if you are planning to take a subscription, so you can go for the referral code Vani YT. So with this referral code, you will be getting 10% discount on the subscription. So for both of these batches, recordings you can watch, and the classes which are yet to go live, so you can attend the live session also. And also there is for plus learners again. So this is for those who have already taken a subscription. So for them we are conducting test series and analysis. So duration of this one will be 60 minutes. Okay, and number of questions are 30. So every Saturday and Sunday the test analysis and the test series are being conducted. So you get one more chance for the aptitude test, that is Unacademy Prodigy. Okay, so here this is actually a aptitude test. All right, so here you have a chance to win prizes worth rupees 10 crore. So basically you are getting a scholarship, that is a college grant, and other than that, you are also getting different prizes here, like iPhone, MacBook, Amazon watches, Amazon Echo Dot. So you will get all of this. So all it takes is 60 minutes of your time. Okay, so on 27th of Feb, the timing is 12 to 1 p.m. So you can participate in this and win many more prizes and scholarship also. So you can enroll now for free. So all you need to do is download the Unacademy app, and it will ask you a unlock code. So what you can do is, so you can use my referral code Vani YT to unlock this free test which is available on the Unacademy. All right, so we are also conducting one shot revision, the poll wars for learners. So these are going to help you crack your finals as well. Okay, so download the Unacademy app now and try all of these features for free, and this is my referral code Vani YT. So how you download? So basically go to the Google Store, okay, Google Play Store. So from there download the Unacademy Learner app, click on the Unacademy Learner app. So once you download, so you can click on get started, then you can enter your mobile number and OTP, and you can continue. So sign up using your email ID as well. So you can select your category, that is 6 to 12. Then you can select your category again, so that is ICSE. So CBSE option is also available, ICSE also. So you can select ICSE there. So then you can go for the languages which you want to prefer, like which language you want to learn in. So this is your preference. So different batches are available for plus subscribers. So they can either learn in English batch or English batch or a Hindi batch purely. Okay, so you can also click on notify me, and you will get notified 10 minutes before the class. So you can also use my code Vani YT. So this is my referral code Vani YT to unlock the free products on Unacademy. Okay, so here you can click on Unacademy. This one you will get, so subscription and bell icon you can click on, so that you will be getting a notification also. Okay, and other than that you can like and share on this one, and other than that you can download the PDF which is available. So for this you can download the Unacademy Learners app and start using it. So there also you will have access to all of this. Okay, so you can download the Unacademy Learners app and start attending the sessions there, as well as we are conducting free classes there as well. Okay, so any doubts you have? No doubt? No miss. Okay, all right, all right. So I'll end the session. So see you all in the next session. Bye bye everyone. Thank you so much.